48 years old. I don't have any children. And I recently started asking myself a question. Actually, I've been mulling over this for many years. But like, what do I actually want to do with my life now? There's always been points in my life where I've asked that question. Maybe you too. I've spent my a lot of my life working, building a career, helping other people. If you follow me any, I do health, fitness, and wellness, um, taking care of responsibilities. And I realized I was ready for something new. I wanted to see more. I wanted to be more. I wanted to explore. Like, what does the world have to offer? I know where I am, what I've done, and it's comfortable, right? I wanted to know what was out there beyond the life I had become comfortable living. So I made a decision that honestly, it didn't scare me as much as some people may say. It scared me not to do it. So I decided I was going to start traveling. And now I'm exploring the world on my own. And the crazy thing is, I realized something. I didn't have to know exactly how this was all going to turn out before it started. And before I get into my solo travels, it's your girl, Chelsea C. In case you didn't know, welcome back. If you've been hanging with me, it is your girl, Chelsea C., your health and fitness coach, always doing the most so you don't have to. See, I have a lot of talents and gifts, so I'm thinking, why not share them all? So today I'm taking a break from our tips and information that's helping ladies 40 plus live their best lives through wellness, sleep, mindset change, all that stuff. Check out a video. I got a lot of them on stress, on metabolism, on mindset, on I got a great one on 5 ways to five a plan that I would give you if you wanted to lose some weight in the next 2 or 3 months. Check those videos out. Okay. Life is always evolving. I don't know about you, but um, I'm just looking to evolve. And so here I am today talking about a different topic. Okay. You don't know what I'm going to talk about from one day to the other. That's why you need to hit that subscribe button, make comments, let me know if you're liking it or not. If you're not, that's okay. It's not for you. Keep on pushing on. Everything ain't for everybody. So, anyway, let me get back to the topic of today. So, some people ask me, like, why now, right? 48, 49, pushing 50, baby. Got to start living your life. Maybe it's a midlife crisis, right? Who knows? Um, but I just know that I was ready. Nothing necessarily terrible happened. I mean, I did go through some relationship things, as we all do, but that wasn't a spark or deterrent, right? It might have just been like maybe a sign, like, yes, do this thing, right? But I didn't wake up one day and decide I'm going to completely escape my life. I was just ready for something different. See, I don't have children, you know, and I realized I have a lot of more flexibility at this point in my life than I have ever been before, right? Because when I was younger, I didn't have kids, but maybe I didn't have the resources. I have nephews, I have small cousins, so it's like I have some kids, but they're not mine. I get to give them back. So I've had the pleasure of helping raise some children, but they're not mine. But anyway, I started thinking, why not? Like, what do I have? I'm not saying that I had nothing, right? But I didn't have anything holding me down. No mortgage, car paid off, you know, the things that usually hold people back. Those things were not really an issue for me. So I'm like, why not? Why not see some of these places I've been talking about seeing? So in the last couple of years, I've started to travel more. So I've been to London, I've been to the one of the seven wonders of the world, Machu Picchu. No, not Peru. Merida, Yucatan. Been to some other places, Tulum. Um, Thailand, Bali. So the last maybe 10 years, I really started kind of like, oh, what is out there? And I think that started giving me a little bit of a mojo of doing this. you know. Um, so yeah, like why not see different places while I have the ability to? Because the reality is, um, no one knows the hour or the day, right? And if there's something in your heart, maybe it's not traveling, maybe it's not traveling or solo, maybe it's something totally different. Go do it. Like plan, right? I planned it, and then I'm doing it. You know, I think sometimes we believe that if we're going to make a change, we have to be 100% sure that it's going to work out. Like, I don't know if this is going to work out, right? So, you know, sometimes we think, what if I don't like it? What if I miss home? What if I miss my friends and family? Right? That's a real thing. What if I can't afford it? What if something goes wrong? But then I thought, I can always come back. If I go somewhere and I don't like it, I can go somewhere else. If it doesn't work out, I can go somewhere else. I can come back. If I decide this isn't for me, I can make another decision. I think sometimes we treat decisions like they're permanent when they don't have to be. And I always like to work through like the worst case scenario, right? A, B, and C. I'm blessed that I know that I can go back. Someone will house me for a little bit. Okay. um, and honestly, I had to ask myself whether I was staying where I was because that's where I wanted to be, or because it was unfamiliar, or because it was familiar. See, the last 5 years, um, I've kind of been bouncing around after COVID. I am a fitness nutrition coach. Everything shut down. I started doing online things, and that's my main source right now. I do online coaching. Hit me up. We're doing big things. Some group coaching is coming up soon. So if you're interested, please let me know. Anywho, so I started doing online coaching. I took a job at a university doing some strength and conditioning. Um, didn't pay very well. So I wasn't in a place where like this is my place, right? I'm renting out places, I'm staying here or there. And so since probably 2020, I haven't just like had my space of my own. Where prior to that, I lived at places for 13 years, my own spot, things like that. So because things were a little volatile, I'm like, if I'm going from place to place where I live, surely I can go place to place around the country. This is how my brain works. Okay. So those are two different things, right? Was I staying because this is where I wanted to be, or because it was familiar? And they're two different things. See, having a routine, knowing what to expect, knowing where everything is, having your life figured out, that's great. And I think we need that as humans. But being comfortable isn't always the same thing as fulfilled, right? I did a video not too long ago about convenience, and the convenience could be comfortable. I always say convenience is, excuse my language, I don't like to be super harsh, but if you follow me long enough, I like to do extreme things. Convenience is killing us, right? We're so comfortable. We have everything at our fingertips that we, sometimes don't eat right. Staying up late. You can call Uber Eats. You don't have to get up to go to the grocery store. You can do Instacart. Things and more things are, um, at least in the United States, uh, are geared to less movement, right? Or, we're outsourcing everything and we're not moving. So comfortable doesn't mean that you're fulfilled. Sometimes you're comfortable because you stop asking yourself what else is possible. See, I didn't necessarily wake up and say, I want to travel the world because I'm unhappy with my life. I wanted to experience more of life. It was almost like one day, and it's only been like a year before I just started doing this. I'm only several months into this, but this was a year process, and I'll tell you later on another video if you want, like kind of my process and things like that, in case this is something you want to do or you want to do something similar or something like that. It wasn't like I just woke up. It was like gradual over time. And then one of my friends, oh, I've been to Italy too. One of my friends, she lives abroad. She used to live in the United States. She used to live in the States. and she would be in my ear about it and everything. There's a lot of things going on in the States that I may not necessarily agree with. We're not going to get into that. Um, just the quality of things are not up to my standards. So why not go explore and see what else is out there, right? So I think over time, I went and visited her. I'm like, this is a real thing that could happen. I could figure out how to explore the world, maybe find a place and then stay there, right? So, I went to, and I'm by nature, my friend said, I'm a wild child, or not a wild child. What does she call me? An adventurous or something. Like you're at your best when you're out. I do like novelty. I like new things. I do like routine, but routine can kind of get a little boring for me after a while. So, I really want to see different places, different cultures. I want to learn several languages. I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn possibly French. There was another language I want. Can't remember what it was, but I want to learn like two or three, maybe four languages. I know it's going to be challenging, but that's what I do. I want to try new foods. I want to get lost and figure it out. Done that several times. Maybe don't want to do that too much. Um, learn more about myself, and I have learned a lot in these several months. I want to see who I was outside of my normal routine. Um, and so what I'm learning about myself already, and just to be totally transparent here, I'm going to I will let you know the places that I'm at after I'm done, after I've left. No, well, no stalkers or nothing. No. Just for privacy and safety. I just think it's the best idea right now. Maybe at some point, I will say, this is where I'm at. Come get me if you want. Yeah. But right now, I'm not going to disclose that. And that's not really even the point. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So, what I'm learning already about myself, I'm learning that, and I'll go back because, like, do I miss my family and my friends? Of course, miss them terribly. Actually, midway through, I went back to LA and saw some friends, and that's an option, right? It's not like I'm never gonna come back. Uh, but yes, I do miss them terribly. But I also am kind of a homebody and didn't see a lot of people anyway, so it wasn't like I was out every week anyway. You know, um, I'm learning that I can make decisions for myself, which I already did. I feel like this for me is like a test, right? You know how you feel real confident when you're in your bubble? Like I can make decisions, I can speak up, I can do things. Like I'm capable and I'm very competent in a lot of areas. Some areas still got to work on, right? But then when you go somewhere and you're by yourself, and that doesn't mean that you have to do things by yourself. And I'm not advocating that if that's not something you want to do. Please go with someone. It might be safer. I don't know. I feel pretty safe. Um, but when you go out, the real world, right? Like go out, different country, different language, then you really get to see who you are. And then you get to learn, right? It's not to say like, oh, I'm a bad person. I don't like to talk to people. It's more like, excuse me, my lips are chapped. It's more like, oh, I got this. Or like, ooh, there's a gap there. I'm learning, having more confidence, doing things, for my birthday, I went up to the mountains and did those the bridges. They have a lot of that in mountainous areas where they do a suspension bridge. I've never done that. I've never even really wanted to do that. I'm not afraid of heights, but you know, um, I made a video of I was in the sauna relaxing where I'm staying, and a lady tried to give me grief, and I had to put her in check. I had to tell her about herself, and at the end of the day, she tried to roll it back and was like, "Oh, sorry. Actually, I saw her at the gym today." She waved at me like we were friends. Anyway, you got to go check that video out. It's called "She Tried Me" or something like that, right? So, you have to be what I tell my students that I also teach at a college. I say you have to have a beginner's mind. Like I'm confident in the things that I do and I can do, but I'm also open to not knowing things, you know. So, anywho, I want to say something really quickly. Um, this video isn't really just about solo travel. Like maybe you don't want to travel the world. No, my uncle, I love him, and he is just as content as can be. He got his stuff set up, and I want to be like that one day. Got the house, he got the back man cave, he has his friend, he has his routine. He don't barely even want to go anywhere. I mean, he'll go because people are like, we should go on a vacation. But he's very content where he is, and sometimes I get jealous of that because like, am I ever going to be content like that? You know. But also, I know that I'm the type of person that wants to explore, right? So maybe you don't want to travel the world. Maybe you're good where you want, but maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to move to another city. You've been contemplating it. Maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to leave a job. Maybe try a new hobby. Start dating again. Take a trip alone, right? That could be a big step for a lot of us. Simply do something you've been putting off. So, like, what is the thing you've been waiting to do? And then, what are you waiting for? Time is moving, right? We're just getting older and older and older, but wiser, right? Wiser. So now I can make better choices than when I was 25 and 30, right? Because I've lived a little bit, made these mistakes, I've made progress, and now I can make better choices. So don't wait. Do it. Do it scared. Do it excited. Do it humbly. Do it uncertain, right? I did it, all those things. Now, I do want to be clear. I didn't just wake up one morning, buy a plane ticket, and hope everything worked out. Now, I have seen that more like on threads and stuff, right? People are like, I just hate my job. And they just like, I'm quitting tomorrow. Like, I'm a planner by nature. So, as much as a lot of people have come up to me like, wow, you're traveling, you're going, you're leaving A, B, and C. I've thought this out. There was planning involved. I looked at my finances. I had to figure out where it's going to stay. I had to make decisions about work, right? How work was going to look for me. Um, you know, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. But what I do want to say is once I knew that this was something I wanted to do, I didn't necessarily put a timeline on it, but it was something heavy on me, like it's time. If it's any time to go, it's time now. Um, but I put in the work. And I think that's the thing. Like I literally just tunnel vision. Okay, I need to get finances. I need to figure out work, figure out this. And then once I figured out, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how it looks for now, right? Because it can change at any time. I went to work and I did it. And I was consistent and disciplined and bored. And just because I knew if I just showed up every day, that the same things worked on my worked on my business plan, got my fancy, just kept doing those little things, I was going to get to an ending. And, I always got to throw in some fitness or some nutrition stuff because that's just who I am at my core, right? Um, but that's what I tell my coaching clients. They get bored, right? Doing the same things. But if you know that this is the outcome you want, I want to get off medication, I want to get back into my clothes that I like, right? I want to wear those things. I want to feel good. I want to have energy. I want to be able to do things. Those mundane, small, consistent habits over time is where the magic is. Okay. So definitely, if it's something you want to do it. Don't wait. even if you can start a little bit today, you're going to thank yourself. Always, I can't remember if it was Gary Vaynerchuk or somebody said, when you go, he went to older adults, like a facility. People had, maybe they had dementia or Alzheimer, or maybe they just couldn't walk and stuff, right? Assisted living. And he talked to certain amount of people, and he said, no one, that people's biggest regret was not that they should have worked more, not that they should have had more things, but they should have did the things they wanted to do. Most of the time, spend more time with family, right? It was their only regret was not trying those things. And I actually worked in assisted living, doing some stuff with the college, and this one lady, I need to call her because she was awesome. She was in a wheelchair, great, spunky. We'd have a travel show, and we'd go back and forth, and that was one of her regrets because every time I come, like, oh, have you been to this country? Have you been to Italy? Have you been to Rome? Have you been to Florida? And people would be like, yes, no, and she would always say no. And then one day I was just speaking to her, she just was like, I wish I would have traveled more because she would not miss my class. My girl was coming to my class, right? Because she didn't get a chance to travel. That's okay. So then I'm glad I was able to facilitate her through that, right? But it also made me think, like, put it all on the table now. And maybe I'll be making a video a month from now, like, I came back home, it was crazy. But you know what? I'm going to have an adventure. I'm going to have grown, and I'm going to have learned. And I would never have done that if I did not get out of my comfort zone to do that. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. Good content, lots of different things. I will keep you abreast on some things that I'm doing while I'm traveling. Like I said, I'll make a video on. You might be like, how did you do it? Leave it in the comments if you have questions, like, how'd you start? Where'd you start? What'd you do? If you're really interested, I'm more than happy to assist you in that. All right, until the next time, take care. It's your girl, Chelsea C. Talk soon.